Hey guys, South Fork Fly Rods here. Today we will be tying this variation of a rabbit leech streamer that I have. First we are starting off with a size 6 hook that is 4XL, and we are adding 0.035 wire to it. Once you get that wire in place, you can scoot it up to the cone head that I am also using. After you have wrapped that wire as you like, you can attach your thread. Here I'm just using white thread. Here we will snip off the tag end, and after snipping off the tag end, we can wrap the thread down to the end of the hook shank, trying to cover as much of the hook shank as possible. Once we get to the end, we will come wrap back up to the lead, where we will wrap over the lead as well as create a dam for the lead. That way the lead won't slide as we are tying in the rest of our materials. Once we have created that thread dam, we will then move our thread back to the end of the fly. And once we move the thread back to the end of the fly, we will take some pearl crystal flash, and we will get about 3 of them and measure about the length of the hook shank, and we will wrap those on. As you can see here, I was kind of lazy in my wrapping and did not want to move the crystal flash out of the way, but as you can see, it just takes longer for me to unravel the crystal flash than it does to move it out of the way. So I would suggest moving it out of the way, but then we will fold it back on itself, where we will tie it in again, and we will cut off the rest of the crystal flash to match the other 3. Then we will add rabbit strips, and we will also have the leather part of the rabbit strip about the hook shank in length, and tie that onto the end as the tail to the streamer, making sure we don't trap any fibers down as well. And after we have secured that with a few wraps, we can then pull it back and tie in front of that rabbit strip. And after we tie in front of the rabbit strip, we can add our dubbing for our body. Here I'm using Ice Dub UV Tan. And once you attach that to the body, it doesn't need to be tapered or anything. You can wrap it around. As you see here later, I was not able to get the amount of dubbing I needed on at once, so I just added some more dubbing. I had to do this 2 more times to get the amount of dubbing that I wanted for the body. As you can see here, I just added another one and I'm wrapping it on. Nice and thick for a thicker body. And then I am adding a little more because I didn't quite make it as far as I wanted to. Maybe half of that cone head length past the cone head is what I left open. And after getting all of that tied down, you then pull that rabbit strip back towards the front, and here you make sure you don't want to trap any extra fibers from the rabbit strip, and pull them apart to make a gap, and then you tie it back down with your thread in the front there, just like that. And then here you make a few wraps behind as well as in front of the rabbit strip to secure it in place. Then we can snip off the extra rabbit strip. And once we snip off the extra rabbit strip, I decided to tie that down as well, making a few wraps, and then wrap back a little bit. Again, half of the cone head length to maybe even a full cone head length backwards. You will create a thread base again, and then we will attach the tips of 2 Grizzly Hackles feathers to make just a little more detail along the side of the streamer. And again, I did not move the hackle out of the way. I guess I didn't learn my lesson, but you can wrap on top of, securing it in place, and then wrap in front of that piece as long as you know that it is secure. And once it is secured in place, we will then be able to snip off the rest of that hackle feather. And after snipping off that side of the hackle feather, we will rotate the vise and the fly to the other side, where we will tie on the exact same thing, trying to match the size and length of the other side so that they are even. I don't really know why I put these on here, to be honest. I'm just adding detail as I go, getting ideas from other flies I have seen, because this is not your normal rabbit hair. This is not your normal rabbit hair streamer, at least not for me, not one that I've seen. I'm just using many ideas from streamers and things that I have seen. But as you tie that feather in again, you want to make sure that it is secure. Make tight thread wraps around it so it's secured in place. And then once you do that, you can again snip off the excess feather and then make a few more tight thread wraps as you adjust that feather to help keep it in place. And then once you are done, we can turn the vise around again and flip the fly back over. And we here have 2 hackle feathers from a whiting bugger pack. They are just white and brown. And we tie those in. And then after we tie those in, we wrap those feathers all the way to the cone head of the fly. And as you wrap, make sure to try to pull back any fibers that may get stuck or in the way to make it look as neat as possible. And then after getting to the cone head, we can secure that hackle by wrapping a few times behind it, as well as a few times in front of it. And once we have done that, we can snip off that hackle. Once you snip off the hackle, you could finish the fly here and leave it as it looks. Sorry that it got a little blurry. I didn't realize it was blurry until just now. Or instead of leaving the fly as it is and whip finishing, you can tie back a little bit from the cone head. And as you tie back from the cone head, it creates a little more space. And it also helps to push those fibers back just so slightly. And as you create that space, it allows for us to put a collar on the fly, which I like to do. And here I'm just, once I have created that collar, the space for the collar, we can put the dubbing back on. And the dubbing we will use is the same dubbing we use for the body. Or you can use really any color you like, but here we're using the same color as we did for the body. Here you can see the dubbing. Not a very large dubbing noodle do we need. We just need a small one that covers that small space. And once we wrap that dubbing on, we can then whip finish our fly and cut the excess thread off. And we have our completed rabbit hackle streamer. Now this fly I have never tied before, I've never fished before. It was just an idea that came to my mind as I saw other streamers out there. But I will definitely make sure to fish it in the near future and show you guys the results of what it accomplishes. If you enjoyed the video, make sure to like and subscribe so you can continue to see content like this.